record this training so that others can benefit from it. Okay. Let me go back real quickly. It's not letting, hold on. I went too many slides to the, so I'm going to go back just real quickly for anyone who just entered. Please go to newsela.com and sign up. There's a free access, get free access button in the bottom left-hand corner. And for those of you, again, who just entered, my name is Kelly Tremba, and my colleague Deanne Oli will be assisting in the chat room. And if you're having any technical issues, she can assist with that as well. Just wanted to repeat some of the things. I have all of you muted. If you want to ask a question in the participants feature, you should be able to raise your hand and we'll unmute you. If you wish to be seen, you can allow the camera to access your video. If you don't wish to be seen, you'll see a little icon up in the right-hand corner what your video button should look like. For those of you who are new to Zoom, in the settings, you can upload a picture of yourself, and that would be what the others would see instead of your name. Okay.
Kelly, can I jump in for a second?
Sure.
Just as I cannot mute everyone's microphone, nor can I unmute them, but I see a number of microphones currently that are unmuted. So if you do come in and you need to mute your microphone if you've come in afterwards, because when Kelly does it as the host, it only mutes those that are in the session at the time. And anytime you make any movement, whether it be you're moving paper or pencils or anything, it throws feedback into the whole session. So that's one of the reasons that we ask you to mute your microphones throughout the session unless you want to ask a question.
Yes, that, and also just as a little chuckle, we had someone to have a toilet flush yesterday in one of our sessions. So that's another reason we ask people to mute. Okay, so we're going to get started. I just wanted to, have this screen up here to welcome you and, also acknowledge that just these are unprecedented times, obviously. So while we're all trying to learn new technology and use it, I just ask that you have patience with me as I will have patience with you, and just demonstrating grace in these times and forgiveness for other people. Especially with the technology. I know as you start to use some of these new digital tools, it can be very frustrating and overwhelming. And, my advice to you would be just to, start with one or two and don't worry about the advanced features. Just, get to yourself to the point where you feel comfortable with those one or two digital tools, and then, take the next step. So just take it one day at a time, one step at a time. Okay, so with that, I am going to, these are the topics I'm going to try to address today. First of all, the free access. Hopefully by now everyone was able to go in and to sign up for the free access. From everything that I have been able to understand, you have free access to all of the tools within Newsela. It is possible that you're going to click on something and it is going to say this is the upgraded version, but I do believe at this time, when you sign up for that free access, that you're getting access to just about everything. So I'm going to share with you what is available. I'm not going to show every single feature because I, again, don't want to add to any overwhelming feelings, but I am going to show you like some places to start. So what is available in Newsela Newsela. And then of course I want to go over searching with you. I am going to touch on assigning to a class, because that is really the only way that you can assign articles to students. My guess is many of you are going to want to do that. You don't have to. You can just give them, encourage them to get on and allow them to search for articles of interest. But my guess is that you're going to want to at least check in and see how they're doing with the articles. And then what I did is I went in and I assigned my daughter, I had my daughter join my class so that I could show you what it looks like from the student view as well. And it's very similar. So I'm actually going to get out of my slide deck here, and I am going to go live to Newsela. I can find it in my tabs. Okay, so hopefully, hopefully all of you are able to, hold on, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get these screens out of here so that I can just see this screen. Let me hide that. Okay, so D, I closed the chat window and the participants just so I can focus here on Newsela. So I'm not going to be taking a look at that. So just
no problem. I have it.
Interrupt me when necessary. Okay, so this is the Newsela landing page. Just a few things about Newsela. There are over 10,000 articles within Newsela. They partner with National Geographic, as well as History Channel and many other reputable and vetted resources. They add at least 10 new articles a day. They have, you can see at the top, they have a library and they have news articles. Many of these articles are current events, but there will also be library articles. There's different reading articles leveled by former teachers. 2 to 3 a day are translated into Spanish. And for every article, there are 5 reading levels. So before I get into anything on the pull down menu, I'm just going to click on this very first article in front of me. The teams are taking a timeout, but sports lessons are still timely. When I click on this, it's going to take me to the article. Okay, so just, introducing this search page, I guess, or this first article. If this is an article that you would want to save for later, you can click on the save button. You can share this article. You can print this article. Not that you're going to want to be doing this right now. Once you're back in the classrooms, you can present. You can put this in a present view, so only the article is being projected. But I want to draw your attention to underneath the picture and underneath the little blurb about the image, underneath the caption, it gives you the author, and it gives you the word count, and it gives you who it is recommended for and the text level. So it is level 6. So I'm just going to scroll down right now, because you'll notice up here in the right-hand corner, it says max. The max, that is the maximum Lexile score. So this is going to be the most difficult this article can be read in. And this is the original article. So when it says max, this is the original article. So if you click on max, you'll notice that it offers you other levels. So if I scroll down to to the Lexile score 420, you're now going to see that this has changed to text level 2. Okay, so I just want you, the next time I'm gonna go back to max, and I want you to just focus on the words. So even the first 2 paragraphs, and when I go down to, I'm trying to look, like the word tournament, postpone, outbreak, threat are all in that. They might be considered higher level Lexile scores, but when I choose 420, you'll notice that those first 2 paragraphs, a lot of those, higher level words are gone. Okay. So let me just pause a minute and ask, are there any questions on the Lexile score? Dee, any questions?
Nothing in the chat.
Okay, nothing in the chat. Okay, so that's, pretty self-explanatory. Now, I'm going to walk you through things that you can do with this article. So you'll notice over here on the right-hand side that it says activities. If I click on activities, it will offer me a write. So there's like a writing prompt that you can assign to kids as well as a quiz. So I'm going to show you how to give the students directions to do this. But while we're here, I want to make sure that I'm at least sharing this. So if I click on write, it offers me a writing prompt. Now, the nice thing about this is you can edit the writing prompt. So you can go in there and edit the whole writing prompt. If there's words that you don't think that your students will understand, you can make it more accessible to them and then save the writing prompt, okay? It says down here, students won't be able to respond to your prompt until you assign this article. So you have to assign the article in order to have students see this writing prompt. In order to get back, you just click on this arrow pointing to the left, the blue arrow. And now I'm going to click on the quiz. So every quiz is 4 questions. Now, I do want to, there's all of these questions are always associated with an anchor. And remember, we're in the grade 2 because I went up to the grade 2. There are going to be 4 answers, 4 questions. It will show you the correct answer. And this is basically, the students see this very similar. If they get it wrong, it gives them an explanation as to why the correct answer is the correct answer. I will show you also how to see how they do on this once we get to that point. Okay, but I also want to make sure that I mention this. If you choose just to share this as a reference with your students and tell them they can click on articles of interest, of course, depending on the grade level, based on how they do on the quizzes, it will adapt to their reading ability, and it will start to present them questions towards their reading ability. Now, I am, disclaimer here, I have never initiated this with a class and had students do that. So I don't know how that works. However, this is what I've been told, that it will adapt to them. There is a way to assign all of your students a series of articles in order to pinpoint their and identify their reading level. However, in this remote situation, I don't know that I would do that because I foresee that taking a lot of time and definitely requiring some assistance and support from you, the teacher. So I don't know that I would, do that at this moment in time. Do we have a question?
Yes.
You adjust the grade level. Okay.
Yep.
So how do you adjust the grade level? So I'm going to go back. So I just want to take a moment. Because this here it's showing me the activities. I'm going to X out of that in order to get back to the full screen. And the way that you adjust the grade level is right here where it says 420. If you click on that, you can go to, and let me actually scroll down so you can see the words changing and the level. So right now it's set at 420. If I go to 550 Lexile level, now you'll see it's text level 3. The words have changed. The article, again, words have changed at 690 and then 850. So one of the really nice features about this digital tool, especially for the all school districts, that have struggling readers and English language learners, is that, so many times there isn't a very appealing amount of literature or reading available for, let's say, a 12 or 13-year-old who he or she doesn't want to read storybooks and read, board books. The nice thing about this is the article information is the same no matter what Lexile score you have chosen. So students are getting the same information. It is just being presented at different levels. Okay. So I'm going to come back to assigning this in just a little bit, because sorry, I clicked on that by accident. Before I assign anything, I just want to give you a little tour of what is available. So up here at the top, this toolbar is going to remain the same no matter what screen you're on. So if you click on search, you can search for any topic that you wish to search for. Okay, so that's pretty obvious. If I want to search for something, and I'm not going to search for COVID-19 because we all need a break on that, but if I wanted to search for, let's say, Mars, it is going to give me articles on Mars. Let me just, acclimate you to some of the filters here. So you're going to see that this articles is blue. So right now I'm looking at all of the articles. Now this text sets, this actually might be, if there's any feature that is not going to be available to you in the free version, it is going to be that. So I'm not sure if when you click on that, what you're getting, but just know that this text set, these are all created by and certified. They're created by teachers, and they go through a vetting process with Newsela, and then they are published on this site. So these have all been created by teachers, and essentially there's going to be, like if I click on one, it is going to offer essential questions, teacher instructions, and some annotation instructions for students. And I'm going to show you all that, but I don't want to spend a lot of time in here because this could, send me down a rabbit hole. And you guys, the nice thing about this site is you can go on here and really just play around and look and see what's available. And it's pretty self-explanatory. But I'm going to go back to the articles. So when I go back and click on articles, there's a couple of ways that I can filter. So you'll notice it says, from collections. I'm just going to leave it at what it's set at, because right now it's offering me the most choices. Suggested for, you can here make sure that you are identifying, if you want to make sure that your students from, in second grade aren't seeing articles made for high school students. This is where you can toggle that information. The text level, you can select, again, by Lexile score and grade level. I often encourage teachers to check multiple, because as you all know, you have students in varying reading abilities. For those of you interested in Spanish articles, let me go back there. Articles, sorry. The more filters, that is where you will find, you'll be able to filter for articles in other languages. So I'm going to scroll down. Basically, from collections, suggested for, and text level, those are all of the filters I just showed you. Information, so this is nice. You can search by standard, okay, by standards and anchors. Down here, English, Spanish. So if you want to click on and see all of the Spanish version, I go back and I clicked on that. I go back and apply. Now you'll notice I have Spanish articles. If you look down here on the left-hand side, wherever, and you may stumble across these, and that's why I'm pointing this out. This ES here means also available in Spanish, okay? The light bulbs are all just demonstrating that there are reading standards, and they're aligned, and there's reading standards associated with these articles. All right, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to use the back button to get here. Let me look in the chat window. There's a question. It does come up on the free version. Oh, that's perfect. So those text sets, you know, they basically, it's going to be like a unit that there's, I created a text set in order to become like a certified Newsela teacher, and I selected a topic, and then I offered some directions, and I had students, you know, select 3 of the 6 articles below, and they had to complete a task with it. Okay, so that is the search bar. You can search, of course, any topic. There's, you know, they added this recently. These are all topics on the election. If you click on that, it's just going to give you, you know, very many articles on the election. But I'm going to move on from that because in the free version, and the only reason I'm pointing this out is because, you know, eventually when life goes back to normal and you have, you know, used this and fallen in love with this, I want to point out that you still will have access to many of these articles. So this news pull down menu, you have access to all of that in the free version. The library is what is not free. So use it up for now and enjoy that for now. But it's very similar. If I go into news and I click on science, and you'll notice there was a Spanish option at the bottom. It's very similar. It's going to give me all, you know, science articles. And again, I can go into my filters here and select the appropriate grade level, text level, and choose more filters. Okay, so, you know, again, library is very similar, but in this one, they are broken up into disciplines and school subjects. So for example, if I go down and I click on, well, this is awesome for social studies, these primary sources. I'll just click on that one. So if I click on primary sources, you know, it's going to give me all kinds of articles, and you can notice that there's an English or a Spanish one right there. Primary sources, the Low Mill Girls. I'll just click on this one. Once again, gives me the Lexile score, the text level, and this one you'll see is 1050. So these are obviously designed for students at a higher reading level because if you recall in the last article I showed you, I think the lowest was like 420. And now here we have the highest is above 1230. So that is all, you know, you can filter the search results based on that filter when, hold on, it's not letting me go back up. There we go. Back here in the suggested for and the text level. Okay, so there we have a question. When you save an article, how long does it save? Will it be available year after year? I don't see why it wouldn't be available year after year. And I will show you when you save an article. So I'm going to save this one right here, primary sources, a day in the life. If you go to your binder, sorry, if you go to your account, you'll see saved by you. So if I'm not sure if you guys are just following along or if you're actually, you know, have another tab open, but if you go in to your saved by you, that is where you will see all the articles that you've saved. And you know that they're saved because of this icon right here that gets colored in. So when if I go back, let me just go back to my search for a moment. I'm just going to pick anyone. Again, this little bookmark here is not colored in, but when I color it in, now and I hover over it, it tells me that it has, you know, I've saved the article.
We have another comment in the chat, Kelly.
Yep. Okay.
Do you see that?
Notice that if a class is assigned an article and individual students adjust their Lexile scores, the activities are not the same for each Lexile score. If you could just clarify for me when you say activities, do you mean the quiz? The quiz, the language of the quiz. Yes, you can link it up in Google Classroom. I'm going to show you that. I'm not sure if you're talking about, yes, the quiz. Yep. So the quiz, yes, the quiz will adjust according to the Lexile scores. That is correct. Okay, Carrie has a question, Dee. You can unmute her.
I can't unmute her, Kelly. You have to.
Okay. I did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you. Go ahead, Carrie.
I actually unmuted myself. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I didn't know that you could, but I'm glad you could.
Okay, good. Thank you. I set up, well, when you asked us, I was in the waiting room and you asked us to sign up for the free version.
Yes.
Up Newsela, it signed me in via Google.
Yes.
So what I'm seeing on my screen though is very different than what, so I'm on your training right now on my iPad, but I'm using my laptop to look at it. And what I'm seeing is different than what you're seeing. It's like I have a different version.
Okay.
You know anything about that? Like even the articles that I see are different than what you are seeing. So do you think I have to do this differently?
No, I don't think signing in with Google has anything to do with it. Maybe it is just a, you know, maybe it is not as full of a free offering as, I mean, so what are you seeing that's so different? And, you know, anyone else
like,
to chime in?
Up at the top where you have text sets, I don't have that.
Yeah, because that's not, okay, go ahead.
I don't have collections. When I click on library, it looks different.
So you don't have all, like I just clicked on library. You don't have all of those offerings?
Yeah. No.
Okay. Yeah, and they might just be, you know, giving a limited free access, but, you know, the fact that you have anything in library, that is usually not included in the free version.
Okay, so the version that you're showing, the version that you're showing us right now, is it free or did you pay for that?
So I had access prior to all of this happening.
Okay.
So I'm probably have access to more than you're going to see. However, you're still going to be able to, you know, search for articles, access news articles, access some library articles. And you should be able to assign them as well.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, so one thing that I want to show you, and let me just look over my notes for a second because I want to make sure that I am identifying everything and sharing everything that I wanted to. And I think I have. Okay, so I had just shared something before. I said I'm definitely going to share that with you, and I can't remember what it is. Does anybody remember what that was? I want to go in and I want to share with you how to assign this to students.
I think you were going to show us how it integrates with Google Classroom as well.
Oh, yes. Okay, so I'm going to show you that actually second, because I have created, like I said, an account for my daughter. So let me go back to the very first article, and in order to get back to the homepage, I just clicked on Newsela up here. Okay, so I am going to click on this article. You know, we're just going to pretend I want to assign this article to my students. Let me close the chat room. So I am going to, if I teach a 5th grade classroom, let me see, here, 5th grade classroom. This is what I want to assign to my students. Okay, so I am going to click on the assign button. Now, I already have 2 classes created. I have a content networking class and a sample class. You will not. I just want to take a moment to stop here because this is the actual assignment. So we are going to click on this in just a moment, create a new class. However, where it says life lessons learned from sports, I am going to give this an assignment title. Maybe I'm just going to call it assignment number 1. You'll notice right here, Newsela recommended adjust level. So Newsela will use each student's performance to present the article at the just right for them. And that is something, as I said, remember earlier, that if they, take this series of quizzes and it identifies their level, but right now, I'm just gonna leave it at that. And down here, so I'm going to leave these instructions here where it says, for example, I'm actually going to just retype that same thing. Highlight any words you do not understand in red. I'm going to do something similar to that. Highlight any golden statements in yellow. And that is going to be my direction for them. Let me add to that. And words you do not understand in red. So when students receive this assignment, they will be able to highlight and it's called an annotation tool. So you can give them a direction, like highlight the topic, the main or highlight the sentence that represents the main idea of this passage in blue, highlight supporting details in green, and you'll be able to see that in just a moment. Okay, so I'm going to just pause 1 second because I saw someone had a question.
It's a comment in the chat about syncing with Google.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Stephanie says that this is exciting. When you get to this point, it allows you to sync to Google and you can select specific classes to sync it to.
Yes. And one other thing that I want to share is when you are creating your new class, at this time or at any time, you might want to create, and of course you're not going to call them this, but my high flyers, my struggling readers, my middle of the road, you can call them blue group, green group, yellow group. So when it says create a new class, think about your students and who do I want to group together, because you're going to want to assign the appropriate text level to those students. So it's a really nice way to differentiate. And you could also, allow your students to adjust. So once we create a class, it does offer you the opportunity to adjust, allow students to adjust. Now I run their networking groups at the IU, and I have heard from teachers that, students go in and they adjust it to a very low level. So, that's up to your personal preference, whether you want to do that or not. All right, there's a question. If you want to unmute yourself, you can ask.
Hi, excuse me. Yeah, the question I had was the little bit that I have used this, I used with a large group of students that had a variety of different reading levels and spoke varied levels of English. And I gave them the ability I let them choose their lexile level and whether or not they read the article in Spanish or English. But what they told me, I asked them to read the article and do all of the assigned activities. So what they told me was that the activities varied by the lexile level. So the students that chose the higher levels got different activities.
Well, the only activities that exist in the free version are the 4 quiz questions. So there's a quiz and there's 4 questions. So my guess is that those words are going to match the Lexile score, as well as the writing prompt. So the writing prompt may, you know, they may change their wording as well, but those are the only activities.
Okay, we actually have the purchased version.
The purchased version. So you
little
guys are probably getting something called, it's Word. It has something to do with vocabulary words. I can't remember the exact name of the feature.
Yes, so only some students saw that. Okay,
yes.
I was wondering if
Yep.
that's true.
Yes. So there's a word exercise as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Sure. And Carrie, did you have a question?
I think that they just have to undo their raised hand.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't go away. But there is a question in the chat from Amanda.
Uh-huh.
Can you stop them from adjusting the reading level?
Yeah.
I teach high school and I can see them changing it to the lowest level.
Yeah, so let me go in and demonstrate how to create a class. So I am going to just close the chat room for a moment. So Dee, stop me if there's any more questions. So when I go in to create a class, this is where you can see that you can import a class from Google, Clever, Canvas, ClassLink. I am not going to do that. I am just going to demonstrate how to create a class in Newsela. So this is where you would do it. So I'm going to call this class my blue group. My blue group are my high flyers, and they should not be able to toggle, but that is actually, I'm going to show you that once we get into the actual assigning of the particular assignment. So, you know, I can identify my grade level, my subject, and then this one, I want to just alert all of the lower elementary teachers to. This is, if you click on this, it is going to filter the articles for your lower elementary students based on subject matter and required background knowledge. You know, because there might be some articles in here that just are not age appropriate for elementary. Not that they're they're inappropriate, they're just not, you know, age appropriate. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to create my class. Okay, so this is where now if you just ignore me if you have Canvas or Google Classroom or any of the other learning management systems that were shared on that last screen. But this is the code that students will see, or I'm sorry, that you're going to have to push out to students who are not in the learning management system. So you can either share this link, the first one, or you can share this class code. It doesn't matter, each is, you know, the same thing. I am going to just copy and paste this code, and I'm going to go on to another screen where if you shared a direction with your students to go to newsela.com and sign up, this is what they'll see. Okay, so sign in. I'm sorry, not sign in. They have to join. Join now. They're going to have to choose that they're a student. Are you joining a teacher's class? Yes. So this is where they put the code. And then next. And I am certain that, you know, if you wanted to share a video of this with your students, that there is a video available. So this, at this point, they're either going to have to sign up with Google, sign up with Microsoft, sign up with Clever, and then they're going to have to create, you know, first name, last name, username, password. So I am just going to, I'm going to make Sam Hunt my student. And, oh, it's already taken 2, and get started. So now this allows me in, and if I go to my assignments, well, I didn't finish making that assignment in the other window, but that is how your students would get in. And you'll notice they can view assignments or they can explore articles. Up in the right-hand corner, you can see that there's a menu for them, and they will be able to look at, the news articles, and they can save stuff in their binder as well. All right, so let me go back here because I want to finish the assignment, okay? So I have created my blue group, and if I click on this adjust level, someone had asked this question before. If I click on this adjust level, you will notice it gives me that right now I'm going to lock my selection. So if I don't want them to be able to, lower the Lexile score, I'm choosing grade 6 and I'm going to lock that selection. And so I don't know who asked me that before, but for the person who is the high school teacher and you don't want them to be able to, read it at a lower level, that is how you lock the selection. Now remember, if you're not going to group your students into like blue, yellow, green, whatever, based on their reading proficiency levels, you might not want to lock the group simply because, it might be too difficult for them. All right, so here's my article, here's my directions. I'm going to assign it. Okay. So this is what it then looks like. Now, as I mentioned before, and you might want to do this. You might, if you have a second email address or a personal email address, you might want to be a demo student in your class just so you can play around with it and see what it looks like from the student point of view. When I was preparing for this session, I assigned this Lincoln's first inaugural address in the class to my sample class. And then I logged in as my daughter and I actually added her to the class. So I want to show you what this looks like, what it can look like for the students. I'm going to go in to this assignment and you'll notice here, this is the assignment name, the text level, the instructions. These were the instructions I gave using the annotation tool. Highlight any words that you do not understand in red. Highlight phrases and sentences that demonstrate Lincoln's reassurance to his people in yellow. So if I go down here and I click on my daughter's name, this is awesome. It shows me what she highlighted, right? So, and she really didn't do this, I did this. But it shows me what my student highlighted in yellow, and she was able to put a comment here. He is assuring the people here. And if I scroll down, I see more yellow. Oh, this is the word resolved. I'm not sure what that word means. So, I highlighted that. Now, the nice thing as a teacher is I can reply to the student. So if you ask the student to highlight and add a comment, you can then go in and reply to them. The other nice thing, of course, is when I click on the quiz, I can see that they got number 1 correct. I can see that they got all of them correct except number 4. Okay, I can reset this quiz so they can retake it. I'm going to go back. And also here I can see I did not do the writing assignment. Oh yeah, I did. So it says write a short paragraph that explains. I just wrote something. And now I can reply to this, leaving comments here, and I can also assign it a 1, 2, 3, or 4. All right, so I am going to pause because I just shared a lot and I hope I'm going slowly enough to see if there's any questions. I know one question that you're probably wondering is where are the classes? So if you go into your name and scroll down to classes, that's where you will find your classes. Okay. I think I interrupted somebody who was going to ask a question.
That was me. I was just
Okay.
saying that there's no new questions in the
Okay.
chat at this time.
Okay.
So just keep you on point with your time.
Yep. 12:45. Yep. So, one last thing I wanted to share with you is, you know, usually the things that you have saved and created are either going to be in your binder or just under your name, your account. I'm not quite sure why some things are in here and some things are over here, but if you want to click on your assignments that you've given, so you want to look at your assignments, not by class, you can click on the assignments. So now I can see the 2 assignments. All right, so I am going to not show anything else, only because I think that I've shared enough that I don't want to overwhelm anybody, but I do want to point out an awesome resource, which everyone should have on the right-hand side that says Ed Center. So in this particular help, it's the help for Newsela. They have tutorials on all of different things that you're going to want to do. I actually sat in on one of these office hours the other day. They had a live webinar. I just wanted to see the order in which they were introducing. But they had someone live and that person was asking questions. But you can, scroll down in here and, make sure you scroll down far enough where it says getting started with Newsela, introducing Newsela Essentials, syncing with Google, how Newsela works, finding content, and many more. So there are a lot of really great, tutorials. You can see this is 1 minute, 4 seconds, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute, 36 seconds. You don't have to sit through an hour video to find the answer that you're looking for. And then whenever you want to just get back to the home screen, I just always click on the Newsela icon. All right, so are there any lingering questions that anyone has? Okay, so I'm gonna assume that's a no. So I'm gonna go real quickly just back to this screen, and I'm going to share with you the final screen here, the final slide, which is an exit ticket. So, and Deanne just put the link in the chat room. Some of you are interested in having this hour recorded, and get Act 48 an hour for it. This exit ticket basically is just your way of recording that you were here, as well as, offering some feedback for the sessions, because we, just like you, are navigating through this in a way that we're, not certainly accustomed to doing on a regular basis. So if you wouldn't mind offering some feedback, and I just also want to make sure that I say, we have, yes, we're offering all these sessions. We've had over 1,800 teachers sign up for them. So please don't assume that you're going to see this hour in your Act 48 or in your CPA tracker record anytime in the next few weeks. Once we're back and we can upload all this information, it will be uploaded. But until then, it's going to sit in a queue for a while, as I'm sure you can understand. So I hope everyone found this useful. I will likely create some office hours in the next week or two just to answer questions about Newsela, so you can be on the lookout for that. And I hope everyone remains healthy and sane, and best wishes as you begin this. You know, let me just real quickly put my, well, you can see my email on the screen. So you can jot that down. I am more than happy to answer any questions that you have regarding Newsela or any other way that we can support you. If you guys are done and don't have any questions, feel free to leave the meeting. I'm just going to stick around to see if there's anyone who just wants to answer or ask a question privately. So I'm going to unmute everybody and say goodbye.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Kelly.
Bye. You're welcome.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly.
Sure. Bye-bye.
I'm logging out to get ready for my next one.
Yep. Okay, Dee. I'll be on then. Anyone else have any questions?